Hello everyone. This is Parth Patel. I am a registered migration agent at Aussizz Group Hawthorne. Aussizz Group Hawthorne, Aussizz Group actually established in 2009, and since then we have been providing education and migration services to a lot of our clients. We have many successful outcomes, which we have been also publishing on our official media platforms such as Facebook. Today we are live here and we'll be answering all of your queries. Please feel free to comment whatever queries you could have. Could be for any visa. This session is not particularly for any particular visa service. So any questions you have regarding any visa, you can post it here, and I'll be happy to answer the questions. In the meantime, I will just cover a few updates. Recently, you might have heard through social media platforms possibly that department have advised that they will be conducting a small invitation round for 189 visa. That's what information we have received so far. We don't know technically what kind of occupations they are going to give priority, how many invites they are going to give, but as they have stated that it will be small invitation round, also because there are no invitation round happened in this financial year. I think that the government will be only focusing on certain occupations. That will also depend on how many invites they are going to give, but then if they are going to give invites to so less applicants, I think they will be having a clear priority on certain occupations. We don't know what occupations they will be prioritizing, but I think certain occupations, again relevant to health, teaching, will be given priority, because we have seen some of the state governments, they have not invited such occupations in this financial year on full-fledged. So that could be the reason that they might not be inviting. Probably they might have that updates from the department. We don't know, but that is just my assumption. But that is one of the update. Because department is going to conduct invitation round, we don't know again what date, but at any point of time it might happen. So we strongly recommend that even if your minimum points 65, because that's the minimum requirement to apply for 189 application. So basically, in order to apply for 189 expression of interest, you require at least a full skills assessment in an occupation which is on MLTSSL, medium to long term skills strategic list. You must have at least competent English, which is having at least 6 bands each in IELTS academic or general module, or equivalent score in PT, which is 15 each, or TOEFL or Cambridge or OET. 5 exams are acceptable, and you need at least 65 points on your own. You can include your partner's points, but not points from any employer. If employer would like to sponsor you, you can still claim points for your experience if you have. You cannot get points from the state sponsored visa options because this is independent visa. So as long as you have 65 points, we strongly recommend you to apply for expression of interest, because we don't know in which occupation they are going to give priority. So your occupation could be one of that occupation. And if that happens, then you might be invited even with 65, because in a lot of occupations, there are not many applicants waiting. That could probably help you out. Apart from that, people who applied already for this EUI expression of interest for 189 visa, we recommend you that you have a look at your EUI and see whether all the claims made in your EUI. For an example, if something is expiring, make sure that everything is valid. If it is expiring soon, probably you should work on it sooner. Few things, for an example, skills assessment expires. Skills assessment, most of the authority has a validity of 3 years. However, some of the skill assessment authority has a validity of 2 years. For an example, ACS, Australian Computer Society, their skill assessment is valid for 2 years. NMAC, for an example, for nurses, it is valid for 2 years. So it depends on the assessment authority. However, most of the assessing authority accept or validate the skill assessment for 3 years of time. So that is one thing which might expire. Secondly, English test. All of the providers, their tests are valid for 3 years of time. Other than that, NATI is valid for 5 years now for people who have undertaken NATI exam before, I think, August 2022. Before that, the validity was 3 years. So when you see your NATI later, it will state, is it valid for 3 years or 5 years? So make sure if you have claimed points for that, it is still valid. Apart from that, professional year program for IT, accounting, and engineering graduates, it is valid for 4 years from the date of completion. So see whether that has expired. department, they don't send notification if your PY or your skills assessment is expiring in your EUI. So you might not know, better to get it checked. Also see if you have claimed your experience points, whether you are able to meet all the requirements in order to claim that experience. Basically, if you would like to claim points for your experience must be highly relevant to the nominated occupation. It must be paid for at least 20 hours per week. You must have worked at a proper skill level. And apart from that, you must have worked on a visa which allowed you to work. Also, you must not have breached visa condition when you were working in the nominated occupation if you would like to claim the points. So few things you have to keep in mind. If that is there, then you can claim points. But sometimes you might have claimed 1 year experience and you haven't worked for 20 hours for a few weeks in between. And if you get invited, you will not be able to prove that 5 points for 1 year of experience. So make sure you have checked those things in your UI. Also, you might have multiple EUIs. If it is in the case, it is better that you withdraw the other EUIs, the EUI which is probably recently lodged, because if you are invited, probably you might take more invites and you might not be using all of those. However, you also have to make sure that your EUI is valid for a long period of time so that you might be invited for the future rounds as well. So just have a look at what EUI might be appropriate for you. If you have any questions, you can contact us. That was one update. Secondly, Victoria have conducted invitation round recently. We have seen that they have been inviting mostly engineers, IT occupations. And we have seen that major priority is given to those who have skilled partners. That means person who is having a partner who has claimed 10 points from the partner having a skills assessment and 6 points in each. Then the priority was given to people who is just claiming 5 points having partners 6 each competent English, and then they were inviting single applicants. Also, person earning much more higher salary, more than 100,000, were also invited. And then after, people having higher English score or probably having relevant work experience were invited. So basically, we have seen the first two major priority were the salary and partner points, and person who is having even superior English on top of one of the things, then they were given the priority. So I strongly recommend, if your partner does not have a skill assessment or 6 each, at least try to get 5 points. If it is possible to get even skill assessment, better to get those 10 points. That will really increase your chances in getting state nomination. Apart from Victoria, South Australia, they have been also inviting people, but we haven't seen much invites. Mainly, they have been inviting people who have been living there for 6 months. When we look at Western Australia, they have been good inviting applicants, but again, they are inviting applicants who are living in Western Australia. And as they have stated on their website, they are giving priority to infrastructure occupations, social workers, for an example, health professionals, and then teachers, hospitality occupations. So they have been invited with even lesser points. New South Wales, they have been conducting some rounds recently, but we haven't seen much invites as such. Canberra, they have been also inviting lesser applicants. So that's where, if you have seen Canberra's metrics cutoff, it's much more higher. Northern Territory have recently completed or concluded their financial year program. So they are not going to sponsor any new applicants. This is quick rundown for the state nomination program. Other programs like employer sponsored visa program is working well. If you have at least 2 years of experience full time, better to look for employer sponsored visa when you don't have good point score. You might have also heard recently from 25th of November, there was an update on employer sponsored visas as well, that even if you nominate an occupation which is listed in short-term demand, low demand in Australia, even in that case, it will lead to permanent residency 186 visa under the TRT, transition residence stream, which option was not available earlier. That option was not available, but then now it became available. So you will have to work with the same employer on 482 visa for 2 years of time, and then you can apply for permanent residency. But to apply for 482, you still need 2 years of experience. Earlier, there was a requirement that when you are on a 482 visa, you have to work with the same business for 3 years to apply for permanent residency. So department have made two changes recently. Firstly, Even if your occupation is on short term, it can still lead to PR under 186 TRT stream, but you will have to work while holding 482 visa for 2 years of time. And secondly, earlier it was required to work for 3 years on 482 visa to apply for 186 visa under TRT stream. Instead of that, the government have reduced the requirement from 3 years to 2 years of work while on 482 visa to apply for 186 TRT. The 186 visa under the direct entry stream, the requirements are same. You need 3 years of full-time experience and your occupation must be in high demand occupation list, MLTSSL. Then only you can apply for 186. So some people are still confused that they can still apply for 186 under direct entry even though your occupation is on short term, which is not correct. Your occupation must be on MLTSSL. These were the major changes. We'll go through the questions. We have received few questions. Firstly, okay, one more update. Recently, you might have also heard that government have closed, they have ended COVID concessions given under some visa categories like 485 visa, temporary graduate visa, 887 visa, partner visas. So concession period ended on 25th of November. So whatever concessions given earlier during COVID time no longer applies. It still applies for certain visa categories like 887 visa where you can claim 9 months of employment and still apply for PR instead of 1 year. So things like that are still in place, but if you have questions, we'll go through that. So, hi, what is the processing time for 485 replacement visa? Look, most of the applications for 485 visa get processed so quickly. Some applications get processed automatically even. Applications through 3 months of time, but more takes you can checking process website. If you think it has taken more than this, you may lodge a complaint on GFU, so Global Feedback Unit. If you Google out saying GFU Home Affairs, you will get a link. It's a web form. You just fill out your details, whatever your reasons are. And then once you submit it, then the processing area will forward the inquiry to the relevant team who is processing your application. And they will try to finalize the application if everything is fine. But in a way you can in a way you can say that it's taking somewhere in between 1 to 3 months. Hamid is asking, hi, department asked me to provide my polio and wife's medical, which I provided. Do you know how long it will take? Okay, look, generally once you provide the documentation, most of the time the department will reopen your application after 28 days because they have given you, most of the time they give you 28 days deadline to provide the requested information. So most of the time after 28 days deadline, they will go through your application and they will check whether you have provided all the necessary documentation. If you have, then they could finalize application. If you haven't, then it depends on again, or they may refuse the application if they are not satisfied. But most of the time after 28 days they reopen the application. It is not necessary that on the 28th day itself or on the 29th day itself they will open your application, but somewhere after 28 days, probably within a week of time, most of the time they open your application. If they are already processing some applications, they may finalize those and then they might come on your application. But most of the time, once you have submitted your documents, it generally takes probably another week of time, 2 weeks of time. However, in some applications, there is much more backlog, and that's where it may take even more than 6 months of time to process your application. So no specific time frame you can probably expect from the department. But 28 after 28 days, probably you can say 1 or 2 weeks in some cases. Some cases it takes much more longer. But as I said again, if your application has taken more than the standard processing time, you may lodge GFU complaint. Is database administrator occupation still in demand? Yes, it is still in demand. It is under short-term skilled occupation list. So you can apply for 190 visa, state-sponsored visa, which is straight away permanent residency you get. 491, it's a state-sponsored visa. That is what you can apply, which is regional with permanent resident, both 190 and 491. You can apply for that. You will have to have an employer based in regional area. If they are happy to sponsor you under database administrator, they can still sponsor you. 3 years after, you can apply for permanent residency. As we were discussing just now, database administrator occupations on short term, and for even short term skilled occupation list, applicants choosing occupation like this database administrator, they can still go for 186 visa after working for 2 years on 482 visa and applying for 186 visa under the transition stream. So either you find an employer, get employer sponsored visa, which leads to PR, or you apply for state sponsored visa. One of the category 190 gives you straight away permanent residency. Any questions, you can contact us and we can help you in detail. Visa lodged in June 2023 and claimed single points. Now getting married in February, what is the best option? Should the spouse collect 10 points? Can she get PT score and skills assessment now in December? Okay. Look, technically, I hope that your application get finalized before February, because technically once you get married, you miss out the criteria. So you don't meet the criteria to claim those 10 points. So the requirement is whatever points you have claimed at the time of application, you must have met those criteria at that time. If you get married, technically you lose 10 points being single. So even if you get 10 points from your partner through PT and skill assessment now, generally you don't meet the criteria. So I hope that you get an outcome before you get married. If you would like to give it a try, getting a skill assessment and PT, you may submit if it is really that you know that you are going to get married and there is no alternative, you can't postpone it for an example or things like that. Then you may get your skills assessment in PT and then try convincing the assessor. But technically, the rule says you cannot meet the criteria, so the chances of that happening will be much more lesser. However, when we have contacted in similar cases to the department, they have told us that they will be assessing applications on a case by case basis. But we always advise applicants that this way you cannot technically meet the criteria, so it is better not to get into relationship which will reduce your points. So you either get permanent residency as a single applicant and later on you apply for partner visa to get your partner here. Or you withdraw your application, reapply for 189, 190, whatever application you have applied. I don't think you'll be taking the chance, but still giving you that option that if you get 10 points from a partner, then you reapply. If you are selected again, then you can reapply for the visa, then it shouldn't be a problem. But we don't know whether you will be invited again for sure. So that is something which is a bit tricky. Vinith is asking, I am offshore, ACS dedicated 2 years of experience from a total of 5.5 years of experience. Despite having IT major degree, can I claim points for entire experience of 5.5 years, not or 3.5 years only? Okay. So Vinith, as per ACS, they says that they will cut down minimum 2 years of experience to give you a positive skills assessment. So as per ACS, they consider you as a skilled person after that 2 years of experience. However, immigration, they says that they will see the opinion of ACS. On top of that, they will also see what ENSCO advise. So as per the ENSCO guidelines, as long as you have a bachelor's degree in the relevant field, you qualify for the experience points. I mean, they don't talk about the points, but then their requirement is that if you'd like to qualify as, for an example, network engineer, then as long as you have a bachelor's degree, you are eligible to claim. I mean, you are eligible, you are considered as a skilled person in that domain. So as per ENSCO guidelines, you can still claim the points. We have claimed points in past. Sometimes it might be required that you might have to make some additional submissions to prove that you were working independently at a proper skill level in that occupation. And actually, whenever we have worked on such cases, we have got through all the visas as such. So we haven't got any problem as such, but we strongly recommend that you take help of professional. They might be able to help you in that case. They might make some relevant submissions. If you need assistance, let us know. But we have claimed 10 points for 5 years of experience and we have got visa approvals. So technically, as per ACS, you can't, but as per ENSCO, and if you can prove that I have independently performed all those duties even in the initial 2 years at a proper skill level you have worked, you can claim the points. Nitesh has asked, I have 85 points for 189 and 90 points for 190 currently as a chemical engineer in Western Australia. How good are my chances for upcoming 189 round? 189 round, we don't know if they are going to give any priority to particular occupations. If they are going to give priority to certain occupations and your occupation is not part of that, irrespective of your points, you will not be selected if they are not selecting chemical engineers. If they are going to select chemical engineers, not many people are there having much more higher points. Last round happened in December where they selected engineers. At that time, the cutoff was 85. So you also have 85 points, but it depends on how many people they will be inviting. So if they are going to invite more people, comparatively depending on, suppose if they would like to select 5,000 people and you are amongst top 5,000 people having 85 points, then you will be invited. But we don't know exactly how many invites they are going to give. One thing, and whether they are going to invite civil engineers, sorry, chemical engineers. That's where it is not certainly something I can tell you. But otherwise, in chemical engineers, not many people are applying. So that way, the chances are good if they are inviting chemical engineers. Hamid is asking, I have added my newborn in my pending application. However, department didn't ask anything for her. Is it possible department can miss her? Even I have provided all her documents. So it is not like they have missed it, but technically they haven't looked at your application, because once you upload your documents, it's not like they will be checking all the time what you have submitted. It is when the assessor will be allocated to your application, at that point of time only they will check, and they will notice that, okay, you have added your daughter. Once they see that, then they will send you acknowledgement saying, okay, we are adding your daughter, something like that. So as of now, no need to worry. Just make sure that you have updated and then form has been submitted, that you have notified the change. As long as it is done, it is fine. You may also upload her birth certificate, passport, whatever you have received, so they will get to know. Varenga is asking, chef, more than 2 years of experience in Greater Adelaide. Now, what's the chances for 190 with 70 points through graduate stream? Already applied ROI, haven't received anything yet. Yeah, South Australia has been slow nowadays. Minimum requirement is just 6 months. You are already having 2 years experience. You are also a graduate. So looking at that, the chances are good. The only thing is it's not certain when you will be invited, because we have seen they are not inviting in good numbers, and then um, we haven't seen they are inviting much more chefs as such. So that's why can't say much. They, even the department's website is not getting updated with how many invites each of the state governments have given, so we don't know exactly how many seats are left with them. But we know that they haven't consumed a lot of quota allocated to them, so still you have good hopes. Most likely the program will go on for another 2-3 months of time, so still you have a good hope. If you are getting a job in Victoria has been inviting chefs easily for 491, and there is no requirement that you have been living in Victoria for how long. So even if you have recently relocated to Victoria, you can apply. They ask you to prove 1 month of pay slips. So probably by the time they conduct the next round, you might have 2 pay slips. So that could be also a good option. But I think South Australia also, if you stay, you should have, you have good chances. You should be invited in probably another upcoming rounds. She is asking, can I apply for 491 from overseas for New South Wales for accounting with no experience? I have skill assessment for accounting and super English and NAT score. Yes, you can certainly apply. It's just that when they would like to select you, that is not certain. You can certainly apply, work on your points, because they select applicants based on the points. They invite applicants based on the English score. You have superior, so that's good. So pretty much you can work on your points, which can increase your chances. Also, if you're eligible for any other state, apply for all the states where you can qualify, because exactly you don't know which state is going to sponsor you for sure. D is asking, hi there, I am offshore candidate with 85 points for 491 visa for ICT customer support officer. Were there any offshore applications processed in Victoria recently? They have invited applicants, but then we have seen they have not been inviting so many applicants from offshore location. Secondly, Victoria, they are not looking at your points. They are looking at, if you are in Victoria, you are actually overseas, but just letting you know that they are saying that if you are in Victoria, how much you are earning. For offshore applicants, they don't look at that thing. They are checking whether you have a partner who is qualified, claiming 5 points or 10 points from your partner. Those people are given priority. If someone is claiming 10 points from their partner, then they are given much more higher priority. So Victoria, what we have noticed is they have been given lesser quota comparatively, and that's where they would like to attract people whose partner is also qualified, so that with one client, one application, they are getting two qualified people. So we have seen Victoria is giving much more higher priority to skilled partners. So work on that. If your partner does not have English or a skill assessment, see if you can get that. That will increase your chances. And then apart from that, they see how much you have scored in English, how many years of experience you have in the same field, what kind of qualification you have, what's your occupation. Based on that, they have been inviting. So IT, they are saying they are giving priority. But ICT customer support officer, I don't think that they are giving much of a high priority because that's not like core um, software kind of side of work for IT. Um, so we haven't seen much invites for this occupation. So it will be a bit tricky to say, but I strongly recommend if you're eligible somewhere else, you should apply there as well. Victoria is a bit um, tricky. Also, knowing that they have invited so many people under 491, so I don't think they will have much quota left for this year. So their program might close at any point of time. Probably next round they might say that okay, now we are not going to conduct any future rounds. So target some other state for now. I mean, you have applied for Victoria, that is fine. But if you are eligible somewhere else, apply for that as well. Shanky is asking, I have 65 points, secondary school teacher and lodged EUI and have superior English. Any chances of getting invited because I'm waiting for 4 months? You haven't mentioned which visa category it is, but if it is 189, no rounds happened. Probably in this round, if round is going to happen, they might select you if they invite teachers, which I think so. For 190 Victoria, we haven't seen Victoria inviting teachers. They are not giving priority to teachers. Um, but at any point of time, they might start inviting teachers. So if you already applied for ROI as well, if it is Victoria, fine. Or if you are living somewhere else, make sure that you also apply to that state. Most of the states are giving priority to teachers, so you should be getting it probably in some upcoming rounds. It could be because they have not invited much teachers in that state, whichever state you are living. That could be the reason that you might not have still yet, I mean, yet invited. But I don't think you have to do anything for now. Just time is the game. Time is the key. Wait for a few more rounds. You should be getting an invite. Um, IPA did not recognize two subjects for qualification assessment. Now would like to assess with Veta search for financial institution branch manager. What are the chances for positive assessment? Okay. Look, actually, I cannot advise you of positive outcome for now without looking at your documents. I can just tell you what are the requirements. If you think you are meeting those criteria, then you can probably get it. High chances. Basically, this is that you should have at least bachelor's level qualification in relevant field, which could be commerce, economics, banking, something like that. Plus, they ask for at least 1 year of experience post qualification at a manager level, and you must be managing entire operation of the bank, whichever branch you are located. As long as you have been doing that, very good possibility that you will get it. Once you get that, then you will have to target the state-sponsored visas because this occupation is in short-term skilled occupation list, so you cannot apply for other visa categories under GSM 189491 family. That option you don't have. Under financial branch institution branch manager, target 190 or 491. Kamal Preet is asking, is early childhood teacher in demand with 60 points, New South Wales? Can I apply for 189 with 60 points? Look, 190 you can apply for New South Wales. Good possibility that you might get invited as well. For 189, you need at least 65 points. So you are short of 5 points. Through any means, you'll have to get that 5 extra points. I don't know how you are calculating your 60 points, but whatever you are missing, probably English could be one option, or Nati could be another option, or 1 year of experience, but then you'll have to wait for that 1 year. So quickly you might only get Nati, your English, or if you have a partner, then your partner's English skills assessment, something like that. Then you can qualify to apply for 189. For now, you can't apply. Um, Swapnil is asking, I have 90 points, including state for Victoria. I am currently working in nominated occupation as a civil engineer, English 10 points, partner 10 points, experience 10 points. What are the chance of getting an invite? Applied last year, still waiting. Swapnil, I don't know why. Your profile looks very good, but I don't know why you have not been selected. Um, yeah, so partner, English, experience, pretty much everything is good. English, that is what, if you work on and score superior English, that might increase your chances. But for now, we have seen that applicants with partners 10 points were given priority. So, and you also have more than 3 years of experience, that is also a plus point. Probably in another few rounds you should be getting an invite. We haven't seen Victoria inviting so many 190 applicants under 190. We have seen that they have been inviting applicants in good numbers under 491. So I think they still have good number of places left for 190. So probably another 1 or 2 rounds could be better for you. You might see probably an invite from Victoria. All the best. Prakruti is asking, can you please let me know the current processing time for partner provisional visa 309 and how long it is taking to get the outcome? Look, partner visa processing time heavily depends on the country from where you are holding your citizenship. Because applications for partner visa under 309 generally get processed in the home country. So depending on how many applications they have, but it usually takes somewhere around 3 months of time to around 10-12 months of time. Most of the applications take that long. Very few applications takes more than even 12 months of time. It also depends on your relationship history, that how long you have been in relationship. Some applications get processed so quickly because their relationship is of long term. But I strongly recommend that keep updating your application with your relationship documents, so that once they open your application, they just finalize the application without asking for any further documents. Because sometimes when your application takes, suppose 10 months of time to get it processed, after 10 months, they don't know whether your relationship is still in progress, still you are in relationship or what. So sometimes they come back and say, we want some additional documents to prove that you are still in relationship. So it's better that you provide documents, updated documents, so that they can quickly make that decision. Make sure you have also got your medicals, police checks are still valid to get the visa quickly. Also, you might have heard that government has now advised that 309 applications will be finalized even when you are in Australia. So technically, the requirement earlier was that you must be outside of Australia when they would like to grant your visa, and you must be outside when you are applying for that visa. Now the government have changed the requirement, saying even if you are in Australia on 309 visa, they can still grant the visa. So if you are onshore, fine, you don't have to travel overseas. If you are offshore, you may try to come on a visitor visa and you can stay with your partner, and then if it is like department would like to finalize your application, they can still finalize even though you are in Australia. So you don't have to leave the country. Jigar is asking, I have applied with 70 points under welder. What are the chances? 189 visa category. So 189 round, we don't know when that is going to happen. The government have advised that a small number of invites they will be giving. We don't know whether they are going to invite welders. If they are going to invite welders, not many welders are there in the market, so good possibility that way. Eunice is asking 491 70 points, civil engineer, Western Australia. Do I have chances? Yes, you have chances. However, we have seen that in the last round, they have not invited much applicants under 491 under the civil engineering category. But probably wait for another round. There is a good possibility that you might get it. I think they might conduct another round in the next week. So let's hope for the best. Leo is asking, my application for 836 other family visa was valid. What's the next step? And will I be notified if case officer has been appointed for? Yes, you don't have to do anything else. You just keep waiting for it. If department needs anything, they will contact you. Otherwise, they will place your application in queue and then you will hear from the department. So no actions to take. Iqbal is asking 65 points, 2 years of experience, motor mechanics. What are my chances? Okay. Look, 189 government selected applicants with 65 points last year. This year, they haven't conducted any round. They are saying they will conduct it. We don't know they are going to invite motor mechanics. If they are going to invite, good possibility. But since last December, they have not conducted any invitation rounds for motor mechanics. And that's where the cutoff could be a bit higher in this round. I don't exactly remember as of now how many people are still waiting in the queue. But I think so within a year of time, so many people could have applied. So that could become a bit tricky if you can increase your chance points. I strongly recommend to work on it sooner before they conduct the invitation round. Priyanka is asking, I am on 90 points for 190 and 85 points for 189 in telecommunication engineering. What's chances of getting a pre-invite? Okay. So telecom engineer, they are, I think I have seen few invites, I guess. I don't exactly remember, but I think I have saw some invites for telecom engineer as well. But technically, And again, you haven't mentioned which state as such. I have seen invites from some of the state governments, but if you uh, if you don't tell me which state, then it will be a bit difficult to tell you. But 189, you are at 85 points. Again, the last year the cutoff was 85, and I think there are a good number of people applied in 1 year of time with that many points, 85 or higher. So 189 could be a bit tricky to get an invite. 90 points for 190, depending on the state. Good possibility, I would say, because points are good, but it depends on that state. What are their criteria? Based on that, you can decide. So Victoria, if it is, then for Victoria, they are not looking at the points. So your points does not matter. You'll have to work on your salary. If you're earning a bit lesser, see if you can get it improvised. Um, if you have superior English or not. If you don't have it, work on that. If you have a partner and you are not claiming any points from your partner as of now, see if you can get at least five. That will really increase your chances. But technically, Victoria is not looking at much more. Like they are not inviting people based on the points, so that's not going to play important role. If you are claiming 85 points, then I think you should have at least good English score. I think you should be claiming 20 points, I guess. Um Partner, I don't know whether you are claiming or not, but if you are claiming, then still you can hope for an invite. Sabine is asking, I have 80 plus 5 points for 190 marketing specialist, offshore applicant. Do I have any chances? If so, which state? Marketing specialist, I would recommend New South Wales could be one option. South Australia, you can apply, but I think it's a bit tricky. New South Wales could be a good option. Western Australia, I don't remember whether your occupation is there on their list. If it is there, you can apply to that state. Queensland could be a good option as if your occupation is there. If your occupation is there, you are eligible to apply. But most of the time, we have noticed that for this year, state governments are not giving priority to offshore applicants under 190 unless your profile is too good. If you have more than 8 9 years of experience, something like that, scored superior in English, then you might have some chances. Otherwise, I recommend that at the same time you should also look at 491 program. Haripriya is asking software engineer category, 85 points I have for 190 and 5 points from partner. You have scored a superior English and 5 years of experience in Australia, still waiting for invitation. What are the reasons? What are the chances? Okay. Um, okay. So your profile is good. I think if you have 5 years of experience in Australia, you must have good salary as well. Ultimately, they are giving much more higher priority to partner skills, which you are claiming 5 points from your partner, and salary, good salary, more than $100,000, excluding super. I think you should have good salary. So again, good chances. Probably waiting for that invitation round where you will be selected. So yeah, just hope for the best. NJK is asking, is the fiber optic technician skilled worker? Fiber optic technician is a skilled worker falling under skill level 3. So if you are looking at Victoria State nomination, you can use that job to claim the salary. Ali is asking, what are the chances of marketing specialist with 85 points in 198, 95 points in 491, single applicant offshore competent English? Okay, look, when you're offshore, most of the state governments prefer applicants who have more years of experience and higher English score. So you must have good years of experience because you are claiming good amount of points, but your English will really make it a bit difficult for you. If you would like to increase your chances, for sure you will be looking at that. I strongly recommend that you at least score 7 bands in each. This year the quota is much more lesser, so with this profile probably most of the state governments might not prefer you because they prefer someone having at least 7 each. And I have noticed that so many people have 5 10 years of experience when they are overseas, but then they are not able to get good English score. So that's where the English will really help you if you can work on that. Swapnil is asking, what are my chances for 189 onshore, 80 points, and civil engineer, 10 points for experience, 10 points for English. Okay. So look, 189, it could be possibility that immigration invite civil engineers more than any other engineering category, because we have noticed this year that many states have advised that they are going to give priority to infrastructure occupations. Like if you have seen Western Australia, if you have seen New South Wales, Victoria, for an example, and states like Canberra, Queensland, they are anyway sponsoring civil engineers, even Tasmania and Northern Territory. So pretty much every states are sponsoring civil engineers. So we have seen that this year, many states have started saying that we need civil related occupations, construction related occupations. Looking at that, it might be possible that immigration may conduct invitation round, and they might invite good number of civil engineering occupation, I mean applicants. So that could be the good possibility, but then we don't know whether they are going to invite applicants based on the points, or they are going to invite applicants based on certain occupations. What will be their priority? For now, we don't know. So I can't exactly tell you, but then if they are going to invite civil engineers in good numbers, you have good possibility of getting it. Um, Shiris is asking, 189 I've applied with 85 points, 190 90 points. What are the chances for accounting for New South Wales? 189, I think it's very difficult, knowing that so many people are waiting with 90 95 100 points. For 190 90 points, what are the chances? For 190 New South Wales, if you're looking at, if you have 8 each and at least claiming 10 points from your experience, then consider that you might have good chances. Otherwise, it's a bit tricky. We have noticed that they are giving priority to applicants having more than 3 years of Australian experience or more than 5 years of overseas experience. So technically, you must be claiming 10 points from experience, then good possibility. Nitesh is asking for 190 Western Australia. Are my chances good for upcoming invitation round? I have 90 points as a chemical engineer. Hmm. Look, Western Australia under chemical engineer, I don't think it is part of the priority occupation group, and that's where it will be a bit difficult to get an invite under this occupation. Um, you may try for some other states. Let me quickly check whether that occupation falls under that priority industry. To what I remember, it does not, but still, let me have a quickly. Yeah, so it does not fall under priority sectors, and that's where Western Australia will be a bit tricky to say. I don't think they are going to invite you in this financially. You should better target some other state if you are really keen on getting an invite in this financial year itself. Um, Also, if you'd like to move to other state, as of now, Victoria is the quickest one, because most of the states have a requirement that you have to move there and stay there for probably 3 months, 6 months. Most of the state ask you to stay there for 3 months of time, then only you become eligible. So if you like to move around, Victoria could be the quickest and easiest way you can qualify. However, Victoria, they give priority to people having superior English, having qualified partner who is claiming 10 points or at least 5 points, people earning more than $100,000 salary. So if you're working in the same field, that might increase your chances because you might be earning good salary, things like that. But Victoria, in short, they says that even if you move today, you can apply for Victoria state sponsorship. So that is the only thing which you can quickly qualify. Western Australia, it's a bit tricky to say because your occupation is not in priority, and so many people are applying under the priority occupation. So that's where I think their quota might get consumed within those occupation categories itself. So that's why it is a bit tricky to say and to get an invite for 190 Victoria, sorry, Western Australia. Ali is asking which state is the best for marketing specialist, and I have proficient English. Okay. Um, I would say the state in which you can get the same field job, that will be the best state you can say. If you can't get, or if you get a job in the same field, Queensland could be a good option, Tasmania could be a good option, Northern Territory could be a good option, even South Australia could be a good option. For other states, they have additional criteria that you have to meet some additional points, metrics. For an example, you might have to stay there longer or things like that. Even Victoria, we have seen they're inviting marketing people. It's just that your salary should be more than $100,000. Your partner should be qualified, something like that. If you have that, then Victoria could also be a good state for this, even this year. So it actually depends on what criteria you are able to meet, what criteria you are not meeting, and based on that you have to see which criteria you are meeting, and that criteria whether they are whether there is any state which is giving priority to that factors. So for an example, if you are superior English and there is any state which says we are going to give priority to superior English applicants, so then better to target that state, something like that. If you're offshore, then pretty much it's better to apply wherever you are eligible. So at the same time, you can apply for New South Wales, you can apply to Queensland, you can apply to South Australia. For South Australia, you'll have to apply for EOI and ROI both. If you're eligible, see whether your occupation is there on the list under offshore category. Victoria also, you can apply. Western Australia also, as long as your occupation is on the list, you can apply. But then for offshore applicants, you don't know which invite you will get it first, which state will be inviting you. So we strongly recommend that if you're offshore, better to apply to as many states you can. You never know which one is going to select you. Haripriya is asking, apart from salary, partner points, and super English, is Victoria's state inviting prioritizing people less than 40 years? Okay. So Haripriya, um, we have not seen that Victoria is giving much more priority based on the age factor. We have not seen that, okay, under particular age group they are inviting people so easily or things like that. So I cannot probably really comment on whether lesser the age is good for you or higher the age is benefit for for the applicant. But we probably could say that applicants in the age group of 40 to 45 and still meeting the criteria could be given the priority because they might have good English score. Probably not the English score playing much more role, but then having good years of experience in the relevant field could be the priority they will be looking at. But technically, if your other factors are same, then we haven't seen that they are giving much more, or we haven't seen that age group is playing much more major role in getting an invite. But that could be the case for people who are above 40, having much more years of experience, more than 10-15 years of experience. That could be the case. Technically, Victoria is saying on their website that they are giving priority to applicants having, based on age. We don't know how they are inviting actually. But some applicants we have seen more years of experience. They had like more than 10-15. They were above 40 years of age. They were invited, even though when they were offshore. Okay. Apart from this, we are as of now focusing more on employer sponsored visas, mainly because this year the quota allocation has been much more reduced. Last year, compared to last year, it is like reduced to just 30%. So looking at that, so many people might not get selected this year. If it is the case, I strongly recommend that you work on two things. That is, not your finding job in the same field, and then looking at higher salary, because it seems that most of the state governments are going towards that. Even immigration, they are planning to work on some strategies. They are going to come up with some requirements, regulations, where they will be giving priority to applicants working in the same field. They will be giving priority to people earning higher salary. So you might see that next year's program. You might have also heard that next year department is planning to make major changes in the GSM points tested visa. So it seems that they will be giving priority to people earning in this earning higher salary and working in the same field. So these are the two things which you should focus more in this year, in case if you're not selected. So by next year, that might be the thing that might come in effect. Um, Also, if nothing works, even though you have tried, scored super English and things like that, if you have the job in the same field, it can at least lead to permanent residency through even employer sponsored visa. And I have seen that most of the time when you have worked with a company for at least probably a year of time, most of the time when you request them, they are happy to sponsor you. So that could be a good option. It's just that you might need a longer commitment because you will need at least 2 years of experience to qualify, and then they have to sponsor you. You might also have to work for an additional few months of time, probably one more year to get permanent residency under the direct entry. Depends on your occupation, but then that could be a good option. So any questions you have regarding employer sponsored visa, feel free to contact us. In employer sponsored visa, when you look at the temporary employer sponsored visa 482, for an example, it is not like you have to have 2 years of experience in highly relevant field. For an example, if you are a suppose hotel manager, and if you have 2 years of experience even in the front desk area, you will not get skill assessment with that 2 years of experience under the hotel manager, but still you can use that 2 years of experience to get 482 visa under the hotel manager. We have seen department approving such applications because for 189 sorry, for 482 visa, the requirement is not that you have to have work in the same highly relevant field. This is your experience must be related to the nominated occupation. So related means that even if it is bit lower level, not lower level, but then it's not exactly the hotel manager role, still in that case they have accepted that. So if you have something like that, contact us and we can help you. Also, for employer sponsored visa like 482, for some occupations there is no requirement that you must have relevant qualification to qualify. So for an example, if you are studying MBA over here, and during your MBA you have worked in a hotel as a, for example, hotel manager, and 2 years on your temporary visa you worked for hotel manager. So uh, or even bit lower level, you can still apply for 482 visa, and then you can apply for permanent residency. So even if you don't have a qualification, you can still apply if you have 3 years of experience. So most of the occupations at a skill level 2 and 3 have exemption for the qualification. So as long as you have 3 years of experience, and that 3 years of experience could be with any employer, not necessarily that you are working with a current company which is going to sponsor you and you must have 3 years experience with them. Even if you have experience gained overseas, you can club that with multiple employers, experience with Australian employer, and make it 3 years and you can still qualify. So even without qualification, you can qualify. If you have qualification, then the requirement will be 2 years, 1 year reduced criteria applies. Um, yeah, so I think that's pretty much end of the session. If you still have any questions, you can still comment it here, and we will respond to your queries. Any questions or queries you would like to discuss in detail in a one-to-one consultation, we are based pretty much everywhere in every state. You can contact our nearest branch, and we can certainly help you with your queries. Thank you, and stay tuned for more updates.